Hey, welcome back to COVID Computer Camp. Today we're working on Galaga, which I'm really excited about. Let me get you over my other screen before I forget. So here's the page at chromeworks.ca/lessons where you're going to be able to get to everything, including the starter file, which has all the blank material that you'll be needing to make this. It has the graphics and the sound effects and stuff. There's also a PDF cheat sheet in there, which means all the code that I'm using today is all in a document that you can use there. And you can also find the link to the remix room here where you can remix your finished Galaga file when you're ready to go. Let's go have a look at our main file. So my son Jeffrey, who is a coding genius, has done the coding for this game for me, and he's just done a fantastic job. So I'm going to be teaching his version of the code. I think I understand everything he's done here. We've started making stuff in a much more simple, modular way, and you're going to see when I get into the coding of the alien spaceships, you're going to see what I mean there. Every major function that the spaceships do is now a custom code block. So if you want, when the aliens arrive, you see a little red code block there, a custom code block that says aliens arrive, and then another one when they start shooting, and another one when they fly off the screen. You guys will remember that Galaga is a game, or anyone who's seen it before anyway, Galaga is a game a little bit like Space Invaders, but with some extra movement. So it came out a couple of years after the original Space Invaders, and it still has aliens at the top of the screen, but they swirl to get there, and then they stand in formation at the top a little bit, and then they come plunging down at you. It's a very much more frantic, exciting game experience than Space Invaders ever was. So it's really, really great. Jeffrey's done an awesome job coding this. This is very smooth as well. Though there's some things some graphic settings that we might play around with if you're finding the performance a little bit slow. So let's get started here. I just wanted to show you the sprites we have. Yes, Chris?
I got a game like Galaga, but it's basically Galaga, but it's got a different name, and you can upgrade your ship.
Is it Galaxian, maybe?
A little bit.
Oh, a little. Yeah. Oh, like, okay, so Galaxian and Galaga are two very, very similar games that both came out around the same time and both use the same ideas. I'm not sure whether one game stole the ideas from the other ones, but Galaga is generally considered to be the superior game. Like, people who are super game fans really get into Galaga a lot more. Anyway, so let me show you this. So we've got all the original sprites from the game. I actually downloaded them from the internet, and you can see that we've got some nice stuff going here. I've got my spaceship, and we've got it turning into an explosion here, so that when we die, we're just going to change costumes to get into a new look. We've got all the original sound effects here too, so we've got lots of cool sounds in here. And anyone who's played Galaga will recognize a lot of these sounds. And they're all available here in this first sprite. And you can actually drag, I didn't realize that you can drag these sound effects to other sprites as well. So if you have a different sprite that needs those sounds, and you can just bring it right over here and drop it onto another object, which is pretty cool. I only realized that a couple of days ago. All right, so we're gonna start by programming my ship. Let me start by dropping the link into the YouTube chat. So this is my so-called working file. This is the version that I'm actually working on live here on the internet. And so if you ever get stuck with the coding, rather than trying to fiddle with it, just load up my version of the file. You'll see everything I'm working on. As soon as I hit the save button, you'll be able to reload the file and get everything that I'm working on. And that way you don't have to worry about keeping up with the code as we're building it. This is more about learning and watching me do stuff and understanding why I'm doing stuff, rather than about finding blocks of code and dragging them. You can always do that later if you want to, right? Okay, so we're going to start working on my ship right now, which is your protagonist ship. You'll see that I have a player 2 ship there. We're not going to be using that in this tutorial, but it's there and it's available for you in case you want to enable a 2-player mode. And that would be a great way for you guys to remix this game if you wanted to. Okay, so as usual with these kind of games, there's a lot of variables and stuff to set up and stuff that you won't see right away why we're doing it. It'll only make more sense as we're working. But follow along here, and this should make sense. We'll get stuff happening fairly quick. So I'm going to start with a green flag, as I almost always do. And So let me explain the way that Jeffrey has set this up. So there's no lives in this game. You die when you die. But the thing is, when you start playing, you'll see a little introductory screen and some music. And then the first time that you die, you'll respawn again right away without having to watch the introductory stuff. And then you'll just keep playing over and over again. Every time you die, it will record your high score. And so after playing 20 times, you'll be able to see what your highest score was of the 20 games that you played, basically. And so basically each time you'll have one chance. The waves come one after another after another, and each wave brings more bad guys to attack you. So at some point there's just so many bad guys that you can't really fight them anymore. So this isn't quite like the original Galaga, but I think it's actually a really fun variant, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Okay, we're going to set our high score, which I was just telling you about, to 0 at the very beginning. So set high score to 0. There we go. And we're going to broadcast a message that just basically starts our game. That message is spawn player. So I'm going to go to my events menu here and find the broadcast commands, which are right here. And we'll drop that in. So we're going to broadcast a message called spawn player. The message isn't here right now, so I'm going to go into new message and type spawn player. There we go. We're good to go. All right, now I need a forever loop underneath there. And all that's going to be doing is right down here, just checking your current score every round and then updating the high score if necessary. So let's grab an if statement from our control blocks and pop it right in there. So we need a greater than. So if our current high score is greater than our high score, then we're going to enter that high score information. So the first thing we need is a green operator block. We're going to find the greater than sign, which is the one with an arrow kind of pointing to the right. And I'm going to pop that into that hole. And we're going to say if score is greater than high score. Let's go to our variables and find those two little bubbles. So here's high score. And here is score. So if my score is greater, if I beat the high score, then we're going to set high score. So we're using the set variable function that's right below there. Set high score to whatever our current score is. So let's pop our score into there. All right, that part's done. Now we can get started on initializing some more variables and getting everything going. So we want to get everything set up for the new round that's starting after we spawn the player. So let's start with a block here that goes events when I receive a message, and of course that message is going to be spawn player. So when the player spawns, first thing, we have a variable that keeps track of whether your player is alive or not. So when you die, some things get reset, the enemies delete themselves, the level restarts itself, so we'll have to get that variable set. So let's go to our variable. We're going to set player alive to 1. Player alive to 1. And then we're going to set the score to 0 and the round number to 1. So let's set score to 0 and set round number, because we're going to go through a series of rounds here. Set round to 1. All right, and you can see at the top of the screen here, we've got the round displayed. We've got our score in the middle, and then the high score is over on the right. You're always free to rearrange this in your own game if you like, but I think this is an attractive layout here. All right, now our guy is invisible after he dies, so let's make him show again. We're going to go to our looks menu and grab a little show block, which is right down here, and pop that in there. And then we're going to switch costume, because you remember when he explodes, he's going to change costume. So we want to switch that costume back to my ship, which is the default one from the explosion. Okay, let's get him to go to his start position. So we'll go motion, go to start position, and the number that Jeffrey used is 0x and minus 157y. It's really, it doesn't have to be that, but that seems to be a good number. When I click the green flag, you'll see that he goes right to the bottom middle of the screen. No matter where I drag him, he'll always go back to that spot again. Okay, now we're going to start doing movement inputs here. So we're going to grab a forever. I want to have a look at this costume here, guys. Costumes. So he's facing up. So the first thing we do is tell him to point in direction 90. So let's go to our motion, point in direction 90, which is facing straight up. Now, it doesn't seem like it's straight up, but basically, again, in Scratch, everything is set up so that direction 90 is usually where you start stuff off. That means you're moving to the right, and even though his costume is pointing up, but when he's in direction 90, that's what it'll look like. If I go to direction 0, which is the arrow facing right up, you'll see he'll spin to the left, right? So we actually want him facing to the right. This is the default location for him to be pointing in, is angled to the right here. Okay, now we'll do our keyboard inputs here. So you guys can use arrow keys or WASD, or both if you like. I'm going to set mine up for both. So I'm going to grab an if statement, and I'm going to say if key, so I need the D, so we're going to start with the the right hand movement to the right. So I'm going to grab an and statement here because I'm going to use WASD or, so I need an or actually, sorry, an or statement. And we're going to say if I press key D or I press the right hand arrow key. So let's grab those inputs from our sensing commands. We're going to grab the block here that says key space pressed, that one. And we're just going to drag it into both holes and then we'll modify it. So if I'm a D or I'm a right arrow, then we're going to, now this is not from the original Galaga, but basically we're going to move to the right, but we're also going to tilt a little bit, and that's the way that that Jeffrey thought it would be cooler if as you move to the right you kind of go a little bit or a little bit. So again, he's taken some liberties with the game. It's not exactly identical to the arcade game. So let's go to our motion blocks. We'll tell him to move to the right. We'll just move 5 steps. And we're also going to turn here. So we're going to turn to the right by 8 degrees. 8 degrees. There we go. And now, before we test this, we'll just switch it around to do this for the left-hand movement. So I'm going to put my mouse over the word if here and then right-click to duplicate. That will load my cursor with these blocks. I'm going to put them right underneath the other ones, being careful not to put them inside the second if statement, so they're parallel to each other, as you can see. Now we're going to change the second one here to say A or left. So if you really don't use WASD, you don't have to have the or statement here. You can just say if key left arrow is pressed and vice versa for the other way around. So we're also going to move 5 steps here. Oh no, we're going to move minus 5 steps here because we're moving to the left. And we're going to spin in the opposite direction. So you could say minus 8 degrees here, but I'm going to be a little more elegant about this and use the turn 8 degrees left button here, okay? Let's test this out. We'll click the green flag. Our guy rotates again, and you can see that he's moving left very smoothly across the screen, left and right. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we're going to do lasers and other stuff in a second. Yeah, let's actually do the lasers right now, and then I'll take a little break. Well, we'll just program the input for the laser, and then we'll do the laser part in a little bit. So let's grab one more if statement. Control if. And that one's going to say if I press the space key. Now, for the first time since we've started doing this, I'm going to use the timer function that's built into Scratch. When I do timers, like countdown timers, I often just create a variable called time, and I'll change it. I'll say change time by -1, and then wait 1 second, and then change time by -1, and so you get a countdown 10, 9, 8, like that. But there is a timer built into Scratch. I don't like using it because it has multiple decimals in it. So when you click the start, when you click start timer and then click stop, it won't read 2 seconds. It'll read 2.348725 seconds or something like that, right? I find that a little frustrating for because then you have to take that number and turn it back into an ordinary number by rounding it off, which just adds some extra complexity to it. I don't usually do that, but in this case, we're actually going to use this as a bullet timer, and this is a really nice way to do it. You know, in the past, we've controlled how fast you can shoot by using a variable, a can shoot variable, so we're doing something a little bit different today using the timer, and it really works well. I'm very impressed with Jeffrey's coding here, and I think that I'm going to start doing this more in the future. So let me show you what we're going to do. So we're only going to allow ourselves to shoot if we're pressing the key and if the timer hasn't reached a certain amount. So we're going to grab an and statement from our operators here, and we're going to say key space pressed. So let's go to our sensing blocks. We will grab the key space pressed, which is already where we want it to be. And we'll say, now in here we're going to grab a greater than sign. We're going to say if our timer is greater than a certain number, then we're allowed to shoot, which means enough time has passed. So where do I find that timer bubble? I believe it's in the light blue sensing blocks. I've never even used it before. I mean, I've played with it, but I've never used it in a project before. So so here it is, timer it's called. And it's right down here at the bottom of the light blue sensing blocks. So I'm going to say timer and drag that in there. If timer is greater than 0.1 seconds. So really what this means is we're going to be able to shoot a maximum of 10 times per second, which is faster than we have been in the rest of our games. But you see there's lots of bad guys to shoot here, and that's actually a really good number. So the first thing we're going to do once we shoot is reset the timer and start it off again, back down to 0, and that'll control whether we can shoot again the second time. Let's go start sound. So let's go to our sound menu and start a sound called a laser. Let me show you what that sounds like. Where is it? Falling laser. Here it is. And there's our classic Galaga laser sound. Let me pop that into the hole there. And the last thing we're going to do is make a missile. So let's create a clone. So we're going to go down to our control blocks. Right down at the very bottom here is a couple of clone creation commands. We're going to use create a clone of myself, but we don't want to make a clone of myself. We want to make a clone of my missile. All right, so when we get back from the break, we are going to program the missile. We're not done with our ship yet, but this is a good time to actually program the missile and get it working, and that's always fun, and we'll see how our new timer mechanism is working. So we'll get right back to it. Okay, so we've programmed our left-right movement for our Galaga character. We've programmed the shoot button. We've got lots more coding to do on our main character, but I thought this would be a good time to get the missiles going so we can start shooting stuff, even if there's nothing to really shoot at. It's always fun to make missiles start going. So let's go over to the My Missile sprite, which is this one. All right. So we're going to start with a green flag, as always. Green flag. And we're going to hide at the beginning. So let's go hide under our looks menu here. Then we're going to start as a clone. So our clones are being created over inside the ship sprite, but they need to know what to do. We're just going to say show here. So I'm going to go to my looks menu. We'll grab a show command to make them visible. We'll tell them to go to wherever my ship is on the screen. We're going to grab this block that says go to random position out of my movement blocks and just tell it go to my ship. That will pop the missile over to the location of your ship. Then we need a forever here to get our guy moving. So I'll go forever, change my Y, my up-down coordinate by 10. And I'm also going to say if I'm touching the edge here. So we're going to grab an if statement. And I'm going to say if touching edge is under the motion blocks here. Oh no, it's under sensing blocks, sorry. So what I really want to do here is have this bullet delete itself if it gets to the edge of the screen. Your bullets will pile up at the edge of the screen if you don't do this, and they will eventually crash your computer. Scratch can only maintain a certain number of sprites at a time, and then stuff starts to slow down. So if you have a missile that you're not using, you always want to get rid of it. And so if we're touching that edge, we just want to delete the clone. We'll go to Control, delete this clone, and that will get rid of him for me. So we're actually ready to test this. Let's maximize our screen. And we'll restart. And you can see that we're firing quite nicely here. And you can, in this case, because we're limiting the speed of the bullets, you don't have to worry about it crashing as has happened in other games. So you can spam this shoot button. Just hold it down if you want. And you've got lots and lots of bullets coming out here. And that should be plenty to defeat any foe. But you're going to have a lot of bad guys, trust me. So you're going to be happy to have that function. Okay, that's great. Let's go back to our My Ship and keep programming that fellow. So I'll hit the stop button here. So, right back to My Ship again. So, now we need a death option here. So we're just going to do a collision detection for all the things that can hit us here. Let me save my file. I see some of my YouTube users wanting an updated version of the file here. Okay, just going to call something on my screen here, and then I can get going. Yeah, there was something I couldn't see. Okay, so we need an if statement here that says if. And I'm checking to see what I'm touching here. So there's a bunch of stuff that I need to be touching here. And I think it's actually, so drone 1, drone 2, drone 3, and enemy missile are all the things that can touch us and kill us. So we're going to need 4 different blocks inside this OR statement. So I'm going to go to my operators, grab an OR, and I'm going to pop it in there, and I'm going to keep dragging additional ORs into there until I have 4 slots to put stuff into. Just like that. And now I need to say if I'm touching drone 1, drone 2, drone 3. So we'll go to our sensing blocks, grab a touching. I'm going to start from the right because this is going to bleed off the screen in a second. This will be easier for you guys to see. So I'm going to say drone 1, duplicate, or drone 2, duplicate, or drone 3, or duplicate. And the last one's enemy missile, which is my missile. Oh, hold it. I don't think there is an enemy missile in here right now. You know, Jeffrey made some modifications to the game along the line, and one of the things that he did, he told me, is that instead of having a separate missile sprite, he actually has the drones turn into missiles at some point. They're creating a copy of themselves where they are, and then one of those copies is turning into a missile, and that helps keep track of the placement of missiles better. It's hard. You can't really talk to clones. Once they start moving on the screen, they'll follow the programming they have under when I started the clone. And if you want a guy at a random time to shoot, and you send a shoot message, all your clones are going to listen to it. So we get around that problem by having our guy create a clone of himself and then having that guy shoot. It'll make a little bit more sense as we continue working on it. So I actually think that's all we need here. We don't need the 4th one. I think you can leave that blank. It won't really make a difference here, or you can just delete one of those OR statements if you want, just to clean it up. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else here for us to collide to. So if we collide, the first thing we're going to do is set that variable, player alive, set player alive to 0. That'll tell the computer that you're dead. And we're going to start playing a sound. The sound effect we're going to play here is called, we're going to go start sound, and it's going to be called falling. And that is this sound. All right, so that is the sound that's going to play if you die, I guess. Okay. All right. And what's next here? So just a second. Let me go look at my code. Now inside. Yes, Abby.
For the 3 drones, the drone 2 and drone 3 have like a bullet, but I looked through drone 1 and I didn't find a bullet strike.
Yeah, the reason for that is because drone 1 doesn't shoot. Drone 1 is this little bumblebee character. So as I mentioned earlier, and I don't think the people on the edited version of the stream would have heard it, but we're going to start by programming drone 1. He's simply going to try and crash into you. Drone 2 will shoot at you. And so we'll add some functions to drone 2, and then we'll make a copy of drone 2, and then we'll add some more code to that to give him directional fire so that he'll aim at you. So each different sprite does something a little bit more complicated than the one before it, and that's the way we're coding this, dude. Makes sense? Okay. All right, so don't worry about that. We're still on track here. All right, so now inside here we need to start exploding if we get touched by a bullet. So we're going to go repeat 4 times because we're going to switch through the 4 different explosion costumes, which you'll remember look like this. So we just need to get him to cycle through these costumes if he gets hit. So let's go grab a repeat block, control, repeat this 10 times one. We're going to put it inside the if statement, so it's going to go right below start sound, and we'll change that number to 4. And now inside here we're going to say next costume, so let's go to our looks menu, grab a next costume, and then we're going to wait, because if we run these animations too quickly you won't be able to see them. So we're just going to wait 0.1 seconds in between costume changes, and that will make sense. Just a little bit more to go with this. And after we get killed, so after the repeat is done, we're just going to hide our player again to make him disappear after the explosion's done. So be careful where you're placing this. So it's outside of the repeat, but directly below it. So there's 2 layers of code underneath it here, and right above is the repeat block. If you put this in the wrong spot, like if I put it here, for example, my guy will be hidden all the time while I play, and I'll be wondering, where did my guy go? Well, that's the reason why, because you put your hide in the wrong spot. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is stop all of my movement and stuff like that so that I can't move. So we're going to go stop this script. So I'm going to go to Control. I'm going to grab my Stop All command here, and I'm going to change it to say stop this script. So that will stop you from being able to move around or do anything else to control your character while you're going. Now we won't be able to see what happens when we collide here because we don't have anything shooting us yet. So let me just preview it for you. Just what I can do is pull this block of code out and then click on it to just show you what will happen when we die here. So just keep an eye on this side of the screen here. I'll just click. Now that doesn't sound like the proper explosion sound. Is there not a better explosion sound in here? Hit 1, hit. I'm not sure what these other sounds. Yeah, no, these are, I thought there was an explosion in here. I'm going to look into that, and I will see if we can find a better explosion sound, because I don't think that is really the one that we wanted. That is a sound that aliens make when they start falling down on the screen and trying to ram into you. So I don't think we should be using that to be recording a hit. So we're going to, anyway, for now we'll leave it at falling, and I'll place this code back into the spot again. And I think no, it looks like everything's still good here. Let me just double check. Yeah, nothing. Well, we can't really tell until we get hit by something. Okay, so we are done. Actually, we are totally done with the player script right now. That's everything we need for the player, so we can actually start programming bad guys. This is going to go a lot more smoothly than our last project, Super Mario. Platformers are really difficult, guys, and so that's part of the reason it took us 4 parts to get through this. Based on what I'm seeing here, we might be able to get through this tomorrow, so let's see how we do. Let's keep being productive. We'll start working on the first drone. We probably aren't going to get him finished, though. So stand by for that. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so we've got our main player moving and shooting properly, and we've got him set up to die when he gets hit by stuff. So that's really all we have to do with our main player. Now we're ready to program the bad guys. As I said, we're going to have bad guys who are progressively harder. So drone 1 is the first one we're working on, and that's going to be the little B-shaped guys. They are going to do the same thing that all the bad guys do, which is swirl onto the screen, stop, and sit for a while, and then come down. The drone 2, which we'll be programming tomorrow, will do the same thing. They'll do the swirl and wait at the top of the screen, but when they're at the top of the screen, they'll shoot at you once, and then they'll come down and try to ram you. And as I said, the player 3s are just jerks. They're really quite mean to you, and they make the game quite a bit harder, and we'll get to that tomorrow as well. Okay, Peter, were you waiting to say something? No, your mic was open. Okay, never mind. Okay, so we're coding drone 1 here. Let's start with a green flag, as always. Let me magnify it for you guys. There we go. All right. So enemy grid X to, whoa. So he's got a variable in here that says enemy grid X, and we're changing it. Wow, Jeffrey has done some complicated stuff here to make these guys swirl around here. And I'm going to have to get him to explain this to me later. I'm going to actually omit this part for now, and we'll start with the other part, because I'm not quite sure what he's doing here. Anyway, we have two parts, so I'll get it sorted out by tomorrow. So let's tell him to hide at the beginning here. Let's go looks. We'll go hide. And we'll tell them to go to the middle of the screen, basically, at the beginning. So this is where they're just gonna be making clones from here. So they're just sitting around at the middle of the screen waiting to have clones created. So we're gonna say go to 0, 0 in our XY coordinates. All right, and now we're gonna run through our, so repeat 5 times round. Okay, so here's where we're gonna start spawning bad guys. We're gonna spawn them in such a way that every round we play, we're gonna have more bad guys. So we're gonna create a certain number of clones here based on what round that we're in. And that's what we're gonna do next. So we need a forever first. So let's go grab a forever block. And we'll say, so at the beginning of every round, we're going to play a little musical file. So let's go to our sounds, and we'll go play sound challenging stage, which is the first one here. You can hear what that sounds like. And that's the beginning of your round. And then we're going to repeat 5 times here. So, oh, no, we're not. So grab a repeat block with a number in it, one of these guys. And we're going to repeat using math here. So we're going to have every round, there's going to be 5 guys being created here. So what we actually need is 5 times the number of the round. Let's go to our operators. We'll grab a multiplication block, which is the third one down here that looks like a star. And we're going to go 5 times the round number. So at round 1, there'll be 5 bad guys. Round 2, 10, and it's going to get hard pretty much right away. And we're going to create a clone of ourselves in here. So that's the number of bad guys who we're going to use here. So let's go control, create clone of myself. And next thing we're going to do is okay, so what we're going to do here is create a whole bunch of, so we're creating 5 of the first guy, but we're also going to create drone 2 and drone 3 at this point right now as well. So we're going to go, but we're going to have fewer of those guys because they're a little bit meaner. So let's go ahead and create the other guy. So we'll go repeat, and actually I'm just going to make a duplicate of this repeat block here. I'm going to move my mouse over repeat, go duplicate, and pop it underneath. Make sure you don't put it inside. So it's inside the forever, but outside of the repeat loop. So now we have 2 parallel repeat loops here. The second one's going to say 2 times round. So 2 for every round. We're going to create a clone of drone 2. And the third type, the super bad guys who are kind of look a little bit like birds. So let's go do another repeat here. Duplicate. We'll pop that underneath. And we don't want to use a multiplication here. We just want the number to equal the round number. So we're going to repeat round number of times. So in round 1, there'll be 1 of those bad guys, and then 2, and then 3. We're going to create a drone 3 there. All right, so we're spawning all our bad guys. They're going to do a whole funny thing where they're running across the screen and swirling and doing some funny stuff. We're going to use a little bit of advanced math. You don't have to understand it, but we're going to use a bit of math to make them swirl around and do some other stuff. And we're going to give them 7 seconds to do all of that stuff, and then they're going to... then we're going to move on to the next round. So these rounds are going to move very, very quickly. You can change this wait time if you want to. If you find that that 7 seconds isn't enough time, we can play with that. But you're also going to have to play with the time that these guys exit the screen, because that's basically how long it takes. They swirl on, they sit, and they plunge down. At the end of about 7 seconds, they'll be off the screen, and those clones will be deleted again. All right, so we're going to, underneath here, we need an if statement. Let me save my file in case you guys have fallen behind. So if player alive is equal to 1. So let's go player alive, which is under our variables. So if player alive is equal to 1, then we're going to, so if you're still alive at the end of the round after these guys have moved, then we're going to change our round. So we'll change our round by 1, and that will take us to round 2, basically. It's one of those dreaded if-else statements that I always forget about. So we're going to have to transfer all this stuff into an if-else. Sorry, Peter. All right, so I'm going to grab an if-else statement and pop that into this place. I'm going to put the player alive in there. So if the if part remains the same, what happens if I'm not alive? Hold it. Oh, then we spawn a new player, basically, but the round number doesn't go up. The round number stays where it is. Okay, broadcast. So we're going to broadcast another spawn message here. Let's go to our events. We'll spawn another player, and we'll wait 1 second for stuff to get into place before we start the next round. Okay, so nothing's really going to happen here. I think these guys might appear in the middle of the screen here. No, they're hidden, right? So they are spawning, I'm pretty sure, but there's nothing really for them to do because
they're at the back layer.
Pardon me?
They're at the back layer. They're not the
front layer.
Layer.
They're at the back layer, yeah. So when they spawn, they'll move to the front. So we really can't see anything right now, and they're probably hidden behind this logo as well. Let me hide this logo right now. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they're just hidden behind the logo. That makes sense. Okay, so drone 1. So you can see as soon as we click the green flag, those guys start to appear on the screen. My drone 2 is there as well, and my drone 3. We didn't give these guys a starting position, so they're just kind of randomly sitting on the screen right now. And every 7 seconds, you can see that we're advancing the round because I am still alive. Let's wait for it to happen one more time. Yeah, there you see. So every 7 seconds, we're advancing to the next round. All right, so it's 11 o'clock back here during our live recording, and I think I've decided to call it quits. We're going to get into some slightly more complicated stuff with the movement, and there's nothing that would actually make anything happen on the screen for another 15 or 20 minutes or so, and I don't want to run over. So I'm just going to call it quits right now. Tomorrow we will get our drone 1 moving properly, and he'll start swirling and moving across the screen the way I told you, and then doing drones 2 and 3 shouldn't be as complicated because we're just adding little bits at a time. We're making a duplicate and then adding. So I had fun building this. I think you guys are really going to like this game a lot. So just stick with it. Tomorrow we'll be back for part 2.